Hello, 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 and welcome back to another YouTube and Facebook Live. I'm so excited to have Mr. J and Brenda back, and Mr. Phil will be coming on shortly. And while we're waiting for people to come on, I just have to say, I have literally been saying I need to come up with a name for this show on Wednesday nights. So I'm not just saying Wednesday night YouTube and Facebook Live. Like, I need a nice name. So awesome. As I see people coming on, say hello, hello, Chenzia, ciao, ciao Bella. And say hello. So we're excited. Yes, people are coming on. Say hello. I'm excited for this other continuation from this month, talking about dating, relationships, and we're going to be going into online dating because someone asked us last week at the very end about what online dating apps we're on. So we're going to be talking about our experience with the dating online, giving you advice, talking about different things that's worked, what didn't work, what are our struggles, what are the advances, and whatever else that comes up. So again, as always, if you have any questions and you want to comment, please feel free. You know, this is open. I love having people speak and share and comment and question. So it's very much an interactive dialogue. So welcome back, Brenda and Mr. J.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you both here. And I know it's like the day before Thanksgiving. So, you know, I'm glad you both could be here because I know so many people are traveling and, you know, doing pre-Thanksgiving stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I'm keeping it close to home and trying to stay safe and, you know, if possible. You know, the COVID is so real that I'm just so afraid of it going back to what we had here in the New York City area again. So trying to do my part.
Yeah. And those numbers are going up again, so it's crazy. Yeah. I stayed here in Brazil. You know, normally, even though I don't necessarily believe in Thanksgiving, and I'm always the one posting those signs about like Happy Indigenous Day, I would normally fly back to the States to spend time with my family for Thanksgiving. You know, and it was more about just being with the family and stuff like that. But this year I was like, I'm not. I'm staying here. Yeah. So let's get into it. So the dating apps, online dating. So let me start off and say, so I am a person who has very low tolerance and very low patience, which is why I don't particularly do well with the online dating. Like, it's a challenge for me, right?
Yeah.
And I've been very fortunate that it's very easy for me to meet people in person. So, and I used to always be like a serial monogamous. So literally I'd be in a relationship. Soon as we break up, I was in another one. Soon as that one broke up, I was in another one. Like, it was never difficult. And coming here in Brazil, like, there's just so many beautiful people here, you know, so it was kind of hard to not meet somebody and, you know, date or whatever. But with the whole COVID, I decided to go online because I'm not going out, I'm not meeting anyone. And honestly, it was more about like just connecting and having someone to talk to, possibly if we both get tested, going on a date or whatever. And that has been a challenge. That has been so much of a challenge. And I'm learning a lot as I'm going along, you know, but it's just like, So this is going to be a fun conversation. So I'd love to hear from both of you as well. Like, how has your online dating experience has been? I think someone asked if the person is on from last week, who asked the question, please say, hey, I'm here, so we could know. And I'm not sure if she's on here yet, but come on and say hello so we can know. All right. So yeah, whoever wants to go first and just kind of let me know what your online dating experience has been like.
Well, I don't mind starting if you allow me, Brenda. Um,
Sure.
I'll say this: the most significant relationships that I've had since my marriage have all been from people I met online dating.
Oh
Um,
wow.
even at a point in my life where I didn't even think that I could love someone again. Um, the two most significant loves that I've had. The first one I met on. Well, it's funny now I think about it because my current partner, I met her on OkCupid back in like I don't know 2013. Um, and then we dated for a while and then stopped seeing each other. And then I met my past girlfriend on, I think it was Hinge, the dating site Hinge. And, we were together for about a year and a half. And, once we broke up, I called my current partner. I was like, "Hey, I'm single again." But we reconnected, but I met both of them from dating sites, OkCupid and Hinge, and through the years using Tinder, and um, you know, here's what here's my impression of any dating site. It's what you make of it, right? Um, people hear like Tinder and they're like, oh, that's the hookup site. A dating app is a tool, and how you use any tool is going to probably determine what you yield from it. Uh, you don't have to um, you don't have to assume the the culture that the site has been given. So, um, Tinder being a hookup site, allegedly a hookup site, that has not been my experience, right, from using that site. Um, I am if I'm whatever it is that I'm looking for, I'm pretty straightforward in my profile and say, hey, this is who I am. I like to be transparent about who I am, and I've seen that has resonated with people. Like even at one point while I was separated, one of the things that I made a point of letting women know is like, hey, I'm separated. If that doesn't work for you, I get it, and I'm okay with you passing me by. But the being transparent has made the difference for me as a male, and I know women's experiences uh, can differ, but for a male, it has been very important for me to be transparent about who I am, what I want, what I'm looking for, the type of person I'm looking for. Those things have mattered to me. So a lot of people, that you'll see on someone's profile, hey, we'll tell our friends that we met in CVS, or a Walmart or something, because people still want to have that what they feel is an authentic method of meeting someone. But you can have success if you use these tools the right way.
And I think that, historically when the dating sites came about, there was a lot of shame because it was like, oh my God, you're desperate. You can't meet somebody in person. So you have to go onto this dating site. So people were very much like, okay, we won't say we met online. We'll just say we met at CVS or wherever,
Right.
And so now more and more we're in a digital age. So now more and more people are okay with saying, hey, we met online, and one of the other things that you said is that hit me, that's really nice, is just being authentic, with what you want, what you're looking for. Because I've heard, I went on Tinder for a quick little bit, but a lot of people did say Tinder is for hooking up and that's it. But again, like you said, I've also met people who have been on Tinder and they met a current partner, so it definitely does, it depends on the culture where you live in the different countries, because each country has its own little culture. And then also what you're sharing, how honest you're being and what you're saying that you want,
But I think it's important, and I think that you need to maintain your boundaries, right? And no matter what site you're on, regardless of the culture in that region or what people think the site is about, you still got to know for yourself what you are willing to accept and not accept. You still have to be. I would hope that you are, authentic to yourself before anyone else. And I think that if you can do that, it doesn't matter where you are. Now, that may limit the amount of people that you end up dating, because if you're in a region where everybody on Tinder, all they do is try to hook up, well, and if that's not what you're looking for, well, that's probably going to limit the amount of people. But if you know that you're looking for, let's say, a serious, monogamous, committed relationship, then stay true to that. And I don't think that you should allow the culture of the place you're in or the website or app that you're on. I don't think that should dictate what you end up doing personally.
Oh yeah, true. It shouldn't dictate what you end up doing, but those can present challenges. So,
Absolutely.
Example for me, I live in Brazil, and that, from what I've experienced here in Brazil, is completely different than what I've experienced a little bit of time that I've been on dating apps in the States.
Right.
And I have a friend here who's dating, and she says, "Oh, I'm going on a date," and I said, "Are you going on a date with a Brazilian?" And she's like, "Oh no, it's an American guy." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Because Brazilians don't take you out on dates.
Right.
And then she was telling me about another friend. She was like, "Oh yeah, she met this guy on Hinge and they went on a date." And I was like, "Was it with a Brazilian guy?" Because I'm like, I want to I want to know. And she was like, "No, it was an Egyptian guy." So, it's kind of hard. You're going to stay true to what you want. But then when you're in a culture, one, in Brazil, a lot of times people just don't have the amount of money to take you on dates. Two, a lot of times people don't have cars. There's so many different variables. So in a sense, you also have to be, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, right? So if I want to go out with a Brazilian man, that might mean that I have to bend and not go on a date. Like, even though I prefer to go on a date, but one of the things that's very big in this culture here is, and we talked about this a little bit last week. And D-Love says, "Renee, how do Brazilians date?" Now I can get into that. What was I about to say now? Yes, I had touched on this last week, that this happens in a state as well, but this is very common in Brazil, that they will automatically just try to come to your house or have you go to their house, right? Oh. And so when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I'm not going to your house and you're not coming to my house. That is not going to be the first encounter, because I don't know you. Right. And I don't know what you're going to do. So I have to initiate, or we're just not going to ever meet, but I have to initiate and say, how about we go to the beach? And then so that might be a first date where we go to the beach because I'm initiating it. So a lot of times they're so used to that culture of not dating that they don't even think of, okay, what else can we do if I don't have money and not spend money? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Let me just get to a couple.
I hear you. I would just say though, that is going to be an issue whether you meet someone online or not, right? Like that type of culture that you're talking about. I think that has less to do with the app you're on, or right, and more to do about the people who are there. If you met someone at a restaurant or walking down the street, they're still probably gonna you know, they're in Brazil, they're still probably going to just want to come to your house the first time you see them, you know, or the next time you see them. I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's app specific in that case.
No, but my comment was it was just in reference to, you know, what you were saying with the app, like you have to, you know, stick true to what you're saying, or what you want, which I agree with. But I was, you know, it does depend on as well part of that different culture where you're at. So how you know, navigating around that.
Mhm.
And Dee asked about how do Brazilians date. So I'm glad that we got Phil on here. And we do want to get to you, Brenda, as well. But let's talk about how Brazilians date for a little bit. And then we'll go back into the States and the different cultures and our different experiences. So, but yes, like Mr. J was saying, even walking in the streets, I've literally had people, you know, like, oh, can I come to your house? You know, like I just beat them and they're trying to come to my house, or we go to their house. So, Phil, you were off when I was talking about the whole dating thing. What has been your experience with Brazilian dating?
Well, that you just mentioned, Brazilians don't really date. They want to go straight to the main course. And doesn't always work. Sometimes it works. Sometimes, and that's a lesson that you can learn from being in Brazil. And I had to learn that for myself. And I think that's a lesson that you can carry even if you're in the States and joining dating sites as a new experience. Every once in a while, just let loose. When in Rome, do as the Romans, which isn't exactly what Mr. J says, but sometimes do as the Romans.
I just said that. You were gone, but I said that.
Yeah. But every once in a while, just, you know, kind of see what it's like. And you may actually have a little bit of fun. So I've been playing the balancing game. And it's funny that you mentioned that about people just want to come over, because I haven't had anybody over my house for a long time because I kind of put my foot down on that. And last week or 2 weeks ago, somebody did come over my house for a first date and I wasn't feeling it. And I think it really impacted the whole rest of the night, because right from the beginning, it was a combative type of communication that we had. Because I was like, I can at least pick you up at the bus stop. At least give me 15 minutes to talk to you before, you know? And dude was like, no, I just give me your address. And I'm like, you know, like it was a weird thing, but I was like, okay, it's just a Brazilian thing. And he wasn't a bad dude. He was a nice guy, but it created that conflict. So that's one thing with Brazilian dating. And the second thing here is people are fast. They're just super fast. It's like straight to the main course, no appetizer, no nothing. And you just have to be ready for that. And like I said, that could be a beautiful thing. It could be a beautiful experience because you can feel your sexiness and your loveliness and everything that was inside you that before would take so long to get to that part where the man or the woman's telling you, oh my God, you're just everything to me. It'll happen on the first night. So you'll be feeling yourself. So there's that positive side to it. There is that positive side to it because of the culture.
And I think Brazilians, they fall quickly too. And so it's like I've met so many guys who are like, eu sou apaixonada para você. So they're like, I'm it's not like I love you, but I'm like passionate for you. Like,
I'm passionate by you. Like you just
and it turns you on. Like you hear them and they're like, when they do it, they're like, eu sou apaixonada para você. And I'm like, and I'm like, did you just tell somebody that yesterday? But I don't care because I just look so good.
I know. It's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Yeah. And they're fast. And that's the interesting thing because honestly, they're going to move fast and they're going to want to come over fast. And if you don't, they're going to move on because they're going to take it like you're not interested in them. Because they don't know how to do the dating thing. They don't know how to move slow. And like literally, I remember I could be at the club and I'm talking to a guy, you know, we're having a good conversation and we're talking. Next thing you know, his face is in my mouth. And there's no like, you know, build up to the kiss. It's not that slow build up. They're just next thing you know, they're like eating your face. And I'm like, what is this? Like, can we slowly get to the kiss and not just like jump in?
I look at Brenda's face. She's like, "Oh my God!" So just quick advice, because I want to
You
hear
probably
Brenda
think
too.
I need to go to Brazil right now. I'll be getting me
Yes,
some,
I
having
don't
me a
know.
good
It's
old
like I don't
time.
know. I want to. That's why I want to hear what Brenda's about to say. But I just want to give just two last cents before we go for the men and the women. Advice: if you do come to Brazil, women, it's a fine line between cultural and hey, you're just overstepping the bounds. So you really got to know your limits as far as that, how much you're willing to accept of that. And two, for the men, man, if you're like, you got to kind of throw out all that, gentlemanly, like I'm going to court her for a week, because you're not going to get laid. You're just not, and I've been on that end with women when I've just taken too long, and too long for a woman is not kissing her within the hour, you know? So, and she just thought I wasn't interested and she moved on. I was like, shit, So I've experienced that with both men and women. So it's just part of the culture. So, men, if you want to get your jammy on, you got to really, be a little bit more forceful with that. But I'll shut up now. I want to hear Brenda.
No, I
Yes.
just think that's very, very interesting. I would be intimidated and possibly offended if it came off that quickly. I want to be courted. I want the long-lasting romance, the flowers, picking me up for a date and all of that. But yeah, I have not had that. Online dating has not been good for me at all. I am currently on eHarmony, and on eHarmony, you take like a profile test, and one of the areas that you're marked in is they do intelligence, and then one is like your masculinity score or your femininity score, and I am the highest you can get for the intelligence is 140. I scored at a 136. So then the other thing that I'm finding is I'm more masculine than a man, and a man's more feminine. So it's kind of like I don't want a feminine man. So that kind of, narrows down the search. And then who they attempt to match me up with, I'm not interested. So it just hasn't been good for me at all.
But see,
What
that's the
site
point
was
I'm making,
that?
right? Like you will sometimes, if you have what your own boundaries are, and you may miss out on people, right? Like Phil, I'm listening to you, and someone posted, Brazilian women are turned off by slowness. It's very machista, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and then someone, I think it's D. She says, I'm a demisexual. I wouldn't survive in Brazil, and my thing is, you know what? You may miss out on a lot of people if you have some limits, but I'm okay with that personally. You know what? I don't need to date a whole bunch of people. I just need to have the person that's for me. And one of my profiles, I said that I was like, hey, like when I was separated, I was like, look, I understand that for 98% of y'all, that me being separated is going to be a problem for you. That's okay. Feel free to move along. I don't want anybody that doesn't want me. And I have to be okay with losing out on people who don't fit what I'm trying to be about.
Mhm.
The thing is, when you're on, just remember, we're talking about online dating, right? And so it is a bit of a numbers game in some respects. So you have to expect that, you may swipe 100 people, maybe only 2 to 4 of those people will be the type of person you actually want. And you may not know that right away, but that's kind of the benefit of doing it online. If you were in a bar, I don't think you're going to talk to 100 people. I just don't see you doing it, right?
Right.
But online, you have the opportunity to click on a profile, read what it actually says, and kind of make a determination if that's someone you want to connect with further, or someone you just want to slide on past.
I do a lot of
So
sliding.
yeah, I'm sure.
I do too.
I was talking to Phil one day. and I kept sliding.
Oh.
I was on Badu, and I was like, I did a screenshot. I was like, look, Phil, it said stop sliding to the left so we can determine what your taste is. Like, it didn't know what my taste was. Like, I was thrown off the algorithm for who, but it was like literally everyone that was coming through. I was like, no, not interested, not interested, not interested. And it's like, I'm not gonna just settle just because of the lack of people that I'm feeling connected to,
So about the algorithms, right? I'm going to tell you a thing that I've noticed that has been successful for me. I may read someone's profile, and please do not underestimate the power of putting stuff in your profile, like writing your profile and actually reading people's profile. But there are times where I may look at a profile and the person is not visually attractive to me, but what I read about them is kind of what I'm looking for, or exactly what I'm looking for. So even if I'm not interested in that person per se, I will swipe right on them anyway because of the content of their profile, because then I will likely get other profiles that have that same type of content that will pop up because of the algorithms. So sometimes what's that saying? Sometimes you gotta, I forget what it is. Like, you have to kiss a couple of frogs
to get the prince.
Right, to get right. So it's kind of like that when you're on online dating, right? If you want to see the type of people that you want, it's certain apps are more specific than others, but you want to, if you see content that works for you, even if you may not be interested in that specific person, swipe right, click on them, heart them, whatever it is, whatever the apparatus is that lets the algorithm know you are interested in something that's on here. Just try to be consistent with that, because it will make a difference.
And that's a good point. I do, because I'm not. You're saying hey to Casey?
Yeah,
hey Casey from Jay. Because I do, like, I go in and I look, right, and it's just sometimes though it's just like, okay, I'm not reading anything on here, and so this is the interesting thing, like, just some of the stuff that people put. And I've noticed that the people here, they haven't taken a lot of time to put full paragraphs of what they're looking for. And I don't know what your experiences feel, but like here in Brazil specifically, they're not putting a lot of information on their profile. So even if I see a picture that I'm not necessarily attracted to, I will still go in to look and read it, because I'm not a person who needs to have somebody who's so attractive. I like someone who's going to make me laugh first and foremost. And I like someone who I can have a great conversation with. So the looks, one of the things that I've noticed in my past, I've met people who I was not attractive to physically, but then as I got to know them, I really started to like them and they became attractive to me.
Yep. And
I would date them. It doesn't matter their size. They could be overweight by, US standards or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care, because for me, it's so much more. But based on what you said, Jay, it just made me think of something else. Real quick, I just want to add this. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about the whole dating app, right? And one of the things that she said, and it made me think of this when you were talking about being, presenting yourself and being real. One of the things that she said to me is she puts a whole body picture up because she's slightly overweight. And she doesn't put up one of the most attractive pictures. She puts up a regular picture for her because she doesn't want people to come in and think, she's one way and then she's not. She wants people to see her for who she is, and she's Brazilian. And we were talking about this because on my app because I felt like I want people to know, and I put that I'm a tantric therapist, because sometimes people can be intimidated or they might have issues and they may not want to date someone if they think that, they're massaging other men and stuff like that. So I'm very upfront and I put that on there. But I think that was a downfall. I think that kind of wasn't necessarily the best way to go for me with my job and trying to be honest, because everybody that was coming on was completely just interested in that and wanted to do tantric massage and in going automatically to to the sensual side, to the sexual side. And I'm like, no.
You got some
No.
jobs at least. Did you get some jobs?
Well, yeah,
out
I
of
was
it?
like, well, look, this is how much I charge. I mean, if you want to get to know me and date, then we could do that. But if you want a massage, then this is my price. So I'm like, okay, I might gain a client, but I'm not getting what I came on here for.
So I want to say to that, right? I do think it is important to be transparent. Now, there's caveats to that, right? Because there are a lot of, well, I'm sorry, thanks, Dee. But there are a lot of people who.
And Letitia, thank her too.
And
She learned a lot of science of online dating.
I
That's
can
what
tell you,
Mr.
I can tell
J
you
is here
some more
for, to
about
give
it
us the
too.
science behind all of this dating.
Yeah,
There is.
There's a lot of science behind
Yeah,
it.
I want to add something to that after.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get more into that too. Maybe, I don't know if we want to do this again, but so, oh man, what was the point I was just about to make?
There was a caveat to the
There's a caveat
transparency.
to how much you share, right?
Mhm.
I think that if you are involved in any, I'm going to say non-vanilla, right?
Mhm.
Any non-vanilla lifestyle or love style. So I'll say, like, if you are, if you're a swinger, if you're polyamorous, if you are
Kinky.
maybe even like kinky or demisexual, like
BDSM.
right? If you any kink, any BDSM, any fetishes, you have to kind of decide if that's something you want to share on your profile. Now,
Mhm.
as a man, I would share that information. Why? Because men are in a position that they don't want to make someone feel like they're kind of sneaking something in
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
kind of important, right? Also, like I said, if you are, like when I was separated, before I got divorced, that was the thing that I made sure to tell people. As a man, I don't want to surprise. I'm a cis hetero male, so I don't want to surprise any woman that I might potentially date with anything about my life that might be considered out of the norm, right? Now, women, on the other hand, there's a lot of safety issues that come into play, right? And so I recognize that. I recognize that, especially online, this feeling of anonymity, even though you're looking at someone's face and they may have their name there, people have this feeling of anonymity that they think that they can say or do whatever. So when you're on a dating site as a woman, I get it that you may, let's say you are like you, Renee, that you teach, you do tantric massage and you're involved in something that for a lot of people may be taboo. You may want to suss that person out first and see, is this something that I feel comfortable sharing with? Because you know what, you may find that it's not worth sharing that information with them, right? I think there is a bit of a double standard, and I think it's an acceptable double standard in that respect, because we're talking about, more often than not, we're talking about the difference between your safety and your danger or some form of peril. And then there's also the issue of, and I hate to say this, a lot of men are just savage, right? And they're on these dating sites and they're coming hard body, just trying to get some ass, right? And you may be down for that, but you may not be down for that.
Right.
And so, I hate to say it like this, but you don't want to give an impression prematurely to someone that you're just getting to know. So I think that some of the rules for online dating will be different for men versus women. I think men should be more transparent. I think one of the things that women would often say to me was, "Wow, I can't believe how forthcoming you are, or how how honest you are. Like, I find that honesty refreshing." And I'd be like, "Damn, like, aren't we all telling the truth here? Like,
No.
But no, right.
I never took that as a, as a me being special thing. But I did recognize that their experience meant that they did not often encounter someone that was willing to be honest with them upfront and transparent.
Yeah. I can't speak too much to those dating sites, the ones that they make you like, they match you up with this, scientifically match you. So I'm going to talk a little bit more on apps, dating apps. I've used Tinder, I've used Badoo, and I've used Grinder, which is more like booty. It's more booty related. Grinder, you just want to hook up. And there's
Booty, booty,
different.
booty everywhere.
Yes, yes. So guys, you got to know which site you're on. So that's the first thing, because you can kind of tell which sites are more just for hookups and which are really looking for a serious relationship. But my experience, I've tried both in terms of even on the same site of being more transparent, being more laid back. I found that being more, a little bit more vague, if you want to call it, in my profile, just putting a nice picture. Because at the end of the day, it's a superficial thing. I mean, you're treating people like objects. You're just like, no, ugly, attractive, wouldn't fuck with a 10-inch stick. You're basically, that's what you're doing. So I found that, okay, if I play the game a little bit and just chill out, I kind of had more success. And I'll put a somewhat attractive picture of myself and be a little vague. I'll put my age, I'll put my job in this and that. And then once the person clicks on me, that's when I take the time to let's get to know you. Let's see what you're about. Because maybe you thought that because I got my shirt off or whatever, I'm just here for sex. But actually, no, I want to. Yeah, but I don't do shirt off pictures though. But I'm just saying. And then after that, you can talk to the person and see if that's somebody that matches with you. Because again, it's very superficial. So if you're on there, like Renee said, telling about what you do or your tantric work and your this and that and the third, it might turn somebody off. But you got a nice picture there.
Or might turn them on so much that they get kind of psycho.
And they get kind of psycho, and then you charge them. So So I guess my advice is, at least it's what's worked for me, is just treat the game, play the game. Play by the rules of the game. And then once they swipe right on you and you swiped right on them, and you got a match, that's your time. Like Mr. J said, you go out at night, to a party or whatever. What are the chances that you're going to talk to 100 people? Okay, or that you're going to see 100 people that you can say ugly, good looking, ugly, good looking, ugly, good looking. So you just kind of play the game, and then somebody matches with you that you find attractive, finds you attractive, then talk. If you see that person doesn't have anything more to offer than a pretty picture, guess what? That's another thing that I learned. Don't take it personally. I don't take it personally if somebody doesn't think I'm hot shit. And guess what? You better not take it personally if I unmatch you. I've had times where I've matched with somebody because the picture was little, and then when I blew it up, I was like, what? What was I thinking? And then I unmatch, and I feel no guilt because it's a game in a way, right? But you can meet really nice people through this game. That's the special part about it. Like Jay was saying, it's like a lottery. And then, wow, and guess what? You did it from the comfort of your home, sitting on your ass, drinking some wine, watching some Netflix. And you can't ask for anything more than that, right? You didn't spend any money. You didn't have to get all dressed up, go here, do that. So that's my biggest advice. Just chill, enjoy it, play the game, and you might get something good out of it in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like what D Love just posted. She says, interesting fact, online dating has increased 38% month over month since the beginning of COVID. Yep. I think post-COVID, you're going to see people's relationships with online dating changing, because what they're going to understand is, hey, I'm probably not going to be in a position, like it's bad enough that you probably wouldn't have access to but so many people before COVID. Can you imagine what it's going to look like now? You decide, hey, I'm going to the bar. You might see like 3 people at the bar. 10 people at the bar.
Yes.
Right.
Slim pickings. Slim
Right.
pickings.
So
Yes.
I think some of the stigma of online dating is going to change once people are home and bored too, and they're just looking for a way to connect with people. And to that point, I think a cool way, some of the apps are starting to add a way to do video chat with someone now inside the app. So you don't have to give them your WhatsApp. You don't have to give them your phone number or your, do FaceTime. Some of the
I
apps
think Badu does that, right?
Yeah, like Badu. Badu can do that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's important. Like, I think that these companies, most of them are owned by the same people anyway. But they're starting to realize that people, who are home and can't get out and meet people the way that they're used to, they're going to need more tools. And now some of those tools you got to pay for. And I'm going to tell you, when people say, "Oh, I don't pay for those sites. I don't want to," okay, you don't have to pay, but there is some benefit to using the tools that are part of their premium service. At least as a man, I can't speak for women, but I can tell you as a man, there's a difference in the people that I had available to me.
Exactly. I agree.
When I was using just the free service versus the paid service, just the
And that
ability
makes sense.
to send someone a message. Some site they'll let you match all day, but if you want to send a message to someone
You
that
gotta
you might really think you have some chemistry with, they were like, "Oh well, you got to pay for that." And if you just say, "Well, I'm not paying for anything. I'm never going to pay," it's kind of you get what you pay for sometimes.
Yeah, and eHarmony I pay, and still it's been a waste of money for me. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I remember when eHarmony came out, so I'd love to hear more from your perspective on that, because eHarmony was seen as the for real deal. Like, you want to get married, you're paying, you do all of this testing. And I remember actually when it first came out, I did the profile, but then I was like, I'm not paying. So I never really got on it. And I haven't paid for a dating app yet. I'm like, I'm not paying. So talk a little bit more about that, and what were your challenges? And then if you can answer, Chinzia says, and I don't know if you've been on any dates through online dating, but she asked, what are some of the precautions you take when meeting face to face? And I can answer that too after.
Okay. Now, what was your question about eHarmony again? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I know you talked a little bit about your experience in the beginning, but for you, what made it, even though you were paying, do you feel like you were finding a different quality of men from if you weren't paying, if it was free? What was that challenge for you?
Yeah, it's more professional men, more educated men, more men with life experiences. Then on some of the other dating sites, I was on BBW, and I think I paid for that. And I took screenshots of all the people that were on there, and I asked for my money back because I said, you are not screening people. This cannot be for real. So eHarmony, like I said, better call. Yes.
I would have loved to have a fly on that wall, or on your computer while you're sitting the message. You're like, this can't be for real. You're not screening these people. And I laugh because I'm in these groups and people are always saying all the time, they're doing screenshots. And then they're like, did this guy really look at his picture that he put up on his profile? Did he read what he? Because people put up the craziest looking pictures of themselves and write the craziest things. So it's really? Did you think that this was going to get you to attract a woman?
And then,
Renee, I don't know if you see this in the hetero Badu, but I see this a lot. Is these women, and nothing against an older woman, because I do love an older woman, but women that clearly look like they're in their 50s or 60s, and they put 19 or 20 on their butt. Like,
I've had that. I had a man come on who looked like he was like 70 and he put 35. And I was like, this can't be his real age, or this is not his picture and he put somebody else's picture on there. I'm like, makes no sense. Either way, I'm not
yes,
talking to you because there's already some incongruency.
yes. It's pretty
I
But
funny.
go
love
ahead,
Yes, it
all
Brenda.
those.
does.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Continue.
like I said, I asked for my money back. And I wanted to ask, I canceled my subscription with eHarmony. I've been on there a year and I don't get past a couple of conversations for whatever reason. And then I think my bullshit meter is calibrated. So that doesn't help any. So, you know,
That bullshit meter is like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it just hasn't been a good experience for me. And then I find too, some of the things that the younger women are doing, I'm not doing that. And that's like a hard no for me. And I'm okay with that. But yeah, I'm just not gonna do it.
Mhm.
Not gonna do it.
So now, have you met anyone face to face just to be able to answer Tinsia's question?
I have. I have.
And what was your precautions, your safety precautions?
Well, after I set up the date, I get an address. I make them send me a screenshot or take a picture of the license plate on their car, and then I send it to somebody in case something happens. And so I have my location on my phone. And something else that I do is I never give out my real number. I'll either do a Google Voice number or text now number, just so they can't like trace me later on back to my home address.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
smart.
something else that I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's smart. I never
Nice.
thought about that. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
always told people, but yeah, here in Brazil, I can't get a Google Voice, but they can't even trace my number back to where I live anyway from here in Brazil. So, but I like that. I like that for those in the States that's dating.
You know,
That
I
Google
would
Voice.
also
You're
say,
cracking everybody up, Brenda.
you know, Brenda is no nonsense.
No nonsense.
Now,
But
can I
I
ask
would,
Brenda a question?
Go
Is it
ahead.
okay? Because I was wondering, Brenda, because those were the sites that started. It was like Jew Date and eCupid and all these like the Christian hookup groups, whatever. When back in the day, like mid '90s, right, when there were no cool cell phones. So would you be willing to try the apps? Because I think it's a different flavor on the apps. It's not as much pressure. It's like we said, it's just a swiping. It's more laid back, and you might end up just talking to somebody that might be interesting. I think most folks have migrated to the apps. Like at least I don't know too many people that, at least here in Brazil, I don't know if it's different in the US, who are still using the old school, log in to the computer, take the test, what's your
No,
personality, let's try
eHarmony
to
is an
match
app.
you.
eHarmony is
Yeah,
an app,
but
and I
is it really light? Like this just idea of like you log
yeah.
in, have a picture, and you swipe left or right?
Mm-hmm. And the extra added benefit, like I said, is the results from the personality test that they give you. So it's broken down into various different categories, like
Yeah,
what
but
is
maybe
your tolerance level and stuff like that. And so
Too
it just
much testing though. You're supposed to have fun. You're dating. I would just go on
yeah.
Tinder or Badoo and just try something different. You might have a different experience. I know I've tried Tinder. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought here in Brazil it was way too rich white folk. And when there
Mhm.
were black folks, it was very difficult to find black folks. And they kind of fetishize. How do you pronounce that?
Fetishize us.
Yeah, fetishize blacks a lot in Brazil. So you always have these white guys that are like, "Oh, I've never been with a black person before," and I'm like, "And you still,
boy,
I
Say
not
what me to
today.
say.
exactly."
Sorry.
So I got off Tinder. I didn't like Tinder so much, but then I went on Badoo and I found it's a little bit more my style. It's more middle class folks, more like street folk. So you might have to try that. So I guess that's another advice. It's like try different apps, guys, because different apps have different types of people on there, and not necessarily I just want to fuck versus I want a real relationship. That's not the division I'm talking about. It's just different types of people and different approaches to getting to either A or B, whatever you're into. So, have fun with it.
Okay, I'm going to try. I'm gonna give it another try and see what happens. But
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
got a point in that
Mhm.
sometimes you will definitely get a different vibe. Like for instance, if you tried Plenty of Fish, right? What you will find on there is that there are a lot of angry people on that site. Everybody's telling you what they don't want. No one tells you what they do want, right?
Yeah.
So that will make you nuts. Uh, I say someone posted Bumble. I didn't have really any success on Bumble, right? Um, I just I would get matches and then the women would never speak because Bumble's the one where they speak first, when women speak first, right? Uh, Tinder, I had I get I would get more matches on Tinder because you know people sometimes either didn't read or uh, the profile space is brief enough that if they wanted to take a moment just to see a quick snapshot of who the person is, and then they would just swipe. Um, okay, Cupid is a site that has like 1,000 questions that you can answer, and at some point, and I think Plenty of Fish too, they make you answer a lot of questions before they
Yeah, I don't
can
have time for that.
figure out an algorithm for you. So all the sites have like a different kind of vibe. I still say you stay as true to yourself. I still think that no matter where
Okay.
you are, you can
Let
still.
me tell you something my heart knows, and then you tell me if I'm being unreasonable.
Mhm.
How about we do that? So I don't like to see pictures of men in the bed because that's suggestive. So that's automatic no. I don't like to see a man hugged up with his dog. That's an automatic no. I don't like to see men take pictures in their bathroom or in a public restroom. I think that's tacky. And I don't like to see a grown man my age in every picture he's in athletic gear. Like, when do you dress up? Or when do you look like you're a grown up? So those are some of the things that I look at initially. And there's a lot of swiping left. And something else I don't like is a majority of his pictures, he's in a club and he has a drink in his hand.
Okay, I think that's fair enough. I think you're going to find all of those on every site you go on.
So you're not choosing Phil
I know.
with his drink in his hand and his shirt off.
That must,
That's what
yeah,
I'm
look at
There's
me.
a lot of guys here with their shirts off, and I'm
I'm
like, nope, because you just want sex.
Yeah.
But wait, what's wrong with the dog though? What's wrong with the dog?
No, I'm not competing with a dog. No, I mean, the man is in the bed with his dog. I mean, come on. No.
Oh, in the bed, yeah, that's
Wait,
too much.
wait.
Yes.
Okay, Brenda, we gotta have you come back on because you cracking people up. Like, Brenda, I love you. I am dying. And it's like online dating sounds like a full-time job.
Yo, but
You
check
all
it
are my
out.
heroes.
Online dating, if depending on what you're looking for, it is work. Like,
It is.
I've told, like, I mentor a lot of my friends. I'm like, look, this is what you got to do, right? And I go through a whole battery of things that they can do if they want to have some success on online dating. And it's a lot. I don't think we can get to all of it here, but understand that if you're looking for a certain quality, yeah, you're gonna have to put some work in, and you might have to put some coin in too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just know that going into it, that it's an easy way to have access to people, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna necessarily meet somebody just because you're on a dating app.
Right.
Look, I
I'm so
agree.
sorry,
Oh,
Jay.
sorry.
I was reading this comment and was like laughing, but I was hearing you.
No, it's all
But
good. I'm glad. I
D
was
is
looking at it too.
yeah. D is like, can the next episode be Brenda's dating profile and who is she swiping left and right on? Brenda,
I want to
did you
know
take
too.
snapshots of all those swiping left and
No,
right?
I can use all the help I can get.
We had to share
I
Brenda's
need
screen.
those too. But guys, it can be work if you look at it as work. I mean, it can be fun too. Like, I mean, I'm kind of tired today. I had a long day, but sometimes it'll be 10, 11 o'clock. I got nothing to do. I'll be watching Star Trek Discovery because I'm a Trekkie, and swipe left, swipe right. So, it's an hour passed by, and I'm just like boom, 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 and I won't even talk to the people. Like, I'll just say I matched, and I'll just say send a quick hello. I'll send a quick hello, and then like Friday or Saturday, I'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm not on here a lot. What's up? And then we start talking. So it can be work if you look at it as work. Look at it as just having a little bit of fun. You're not spending any money. You're not having to get all dressed up. You can be in your bed. Just enjoy the facility of it. So it's all in your mindset going in. But as Mr. J has been saying, and he's been hammering it down, and I agree 100%, be true to yourself. Okay? Don't just be like, oh, I'm so desperate, so now I'm just going to swipe right on every guy just because I
Yeah.
want to get. No, if you got your things that you're into, if that person matches, okay. Every once in a while, I dig the algorithm advice that he gave. Swipe. I do that every once in a while too, but have fun. Don't look at it as work, because then if you do, you're already going in with a negative attitude, so you're gonna get negative results.
Yes.
Go in with
So
a positive, happy, good vibe. That's half the
so
work.
we're going to end with this question. Each of us answer this. Chinzia
Oh
said,
God.
for each of you, what has been your worst experience?
Mm.
Oh my God. Oh, I know mine already. Yes, I
You
know
want to go,
mine.
Phil?
No, go ahead. If you can go.
You said
So
you know yours already. Go ahead.
Okay,
Okay, go
okay,
ahead,
then I'll
Jay.
go because I was just
Go.
talking. I don't want to eat up too much time. Um, well, mine was just Brazilian culture shock. Other than side note, worst experience, but this is general, is just people that match with you and they just don't say hello. I don't get that, but that's a side issue. But so I met up with this guy, a black person on Tinder. I was like, yeah, and he was a writer. He was real intelligent. So then we met at the park, as Renee knows. That's my favorite first date, and it was all going well until we got to the Brazilian part of the experience, which is he really wanted to just suck mouth in this park. And I was like, wait, I just met you. Right. And I really, really liked them. And so even more, because I'll hook up with somebody if I know it's just a fling. And I was like, no, I'm really digging you. I don't need to suck your face right now. Man, he got so offended, super offended. So then as we're walking out of the park, I kind of wanted to just touch his hand, some physical contact, hold hands. And he's like, it's against my culture to do this. I was like, you fucking asshole. You know? So he went super shit mode on me. So then I was like, God damn it. So that was probably my worst experience on the dating apps. Just, the cross cultural mixing that didn't work very well. I don't want to relive it. You're right.
Okay, Jay.
one of my first online dating experiences, I was chatting with this woman. I was like, wow, she's really cool, she's really pretty. We talked for about 2 hours. She's like, hey, how, it was like 7 a.m. She was like, hey, do you want to meet up for breakfast? I was like, yes, let's meet up for breakfast. And she's texting me on the way. She's like, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm about to get out the cab. She was like, yeah, I'm walking in. And I'm standing there and I'm like, she says, I'm here. She sent me a text and she's like, I'm here. And I'm looking out the door. I see a woman come in and I'm looking out the door. She's like, Jay. So I'm hungry. So I sit down with her anyway. We eat. About an hour into the date, she goes, oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, I used somebody else's picture. I was like, yeah, I'm aware of that. She says, but I used someone that looked just like me. Now listen, I'm a photographer. I look at people's faces all the time. And I'm looking at her and I was like, yeah, no, she doesn't look anything like you. She goes, yes, she does. I said, well, you're both light skinned. She's like, well, no, she looks just like. I said, no, you have a different jawline. I actually started running down things that were different. And she was like, oh, I think she looks like me. I said, okay. Yeah, that was the end of that date. I never heard
Oh
from her again,
God.
but I literally got catfished. And it was
Mm.
like my first experience. I didn't let it get me down, but I was more cautious now when I saw only one picture. Now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's never gonna happen again.
Right.
Mm. Okay. My worst date is went out. So the first of all, the guy ordered before I did. I thought that was a no-no. So then he ordered all of this food. So I'm thinking to myself that, he didn't like say we were, he was gonna pay for everything. So I ordered like a salad and a drink or whatever. So when all the food came to the table, he did just like this. And he brought all the food close to him. And I was like, oh my God. So
We
that
need a whole
right
show
there
just for
was the
Brenda.
worst.
I
Huh?
know.
We need a whole show just for Brenda.
We do.
Yes, I don't know. I just don't have good luck. I don't know what it is. But I get some doozies.
He
God
ate all
damn!
the
So
food.
he just ate all the food, left you
Yeah, and then he
with
said,
the
"Oh, did you
salad.
want something?" I said, "No, no, thank you."
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious.
That's
Oh my
hilarious.
God. Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God.
we're
That's
laughing at your
crazy.
pain, but that is hilarious.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is hilarious. It's crazy. That's insane.
So hilarious. D-Love says, oh no, he did not. Your food is my food too, even on a first date, especially fries. It's so funny. I saw somebody post in one of these groups, a lady on a date, and then her guy has a plate, and then she has a plate, and then she's reaching over to get some of his food, and she was like, "Yeah, your food is my food." I would have went to the bathroom and never come back. Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. So I don't have any like crazy experiences. My worst experience, it's just I was also catfished. So I was talking to this guy recently on Badu. Actually, we had some really good conversations, and he had like a decent sized picture. I didn't think he was like all that great looking, or he wasn't ugly, but he wasn't like fine or anything. It was just okay. Had some really good conversations. So we have been talking for like, good amount of time, like a week or so, or good amount of time. So then I was like, oh, I'm not on here much. Should we move over to WhatsApp? And so I gave him my WhatsApp number, and I'm like, okay, let's talk there. And then I don't hear from him anymore. So I'm like, okay, I guess he didn't want to go over to WhatsApp, because that would have been me knowing his personal information, maybe being able to see his face, or who knows what. So
I tell you what, catfishers tell some of the best stories. They have some of the best conversation.
yes,
Right? They're good. Like they really
so good.
Oh my gosh, like those have been some of the best combos. And then you meet them and you're like, yo, and I'm sorry, I know we're over time, but listen, I got catfished by my frat brother's girlfriend because they were dating. I was going to Chicago. She lives in Chicago. I was going there for my birthday. I was like, yo, I want to go to all the house clubs. She was like, I got you. I'll take you everywhere. I get out there first night. She's like, oh, I got stuck at work. I'm like, dude, you couldn't tell me you were stuck at work. The second night, she was like, I'll be there at 9. No, I'll be there at 7. 8 pass, 9 pass, 10 pass. I'm like, yo, are you coming? So then on Sunday morning, now my trip is ruined because I was just there for the weekend. I say, hey, he hits me up. He goes, hey, did you have fun? Did you end up meeting up with Candy? I should have known something when the name was Candy. He said, did you meet up? I said, no. He says, oh, you didn't meet her? I said, no. Did you? He goes, I never actually met her.
Oh God!
Why didn't you tell me that before I came out here? I would have just did my thing. So, but she told the best stories, and then he tells me, oh, yeah, I never really met her, but she was supposed to come to New York, and she's her cousin ends up getting on the flight, and she doesn't make the flight. And I'm like, dude, that's because Candy was the girl that actually showed up and not the one that was in the pictures. But she was great at telling a story. She had this whole persona. They are really good at what they do.
They really are.
But you see what Elder said, right? Yo, FaceTime. I mean, now that we have that, like, you shouldn't get catfish nowadays. You shouldn't. Because if there is FaceTime and WhatsApp and House Party and all these apps where you can do a video chat with someone, you really should not have a reason to be catfished.
Yeah.
Yes, unless they're the ones that play you for scams and trying to get money out of you. You got to be careful with those types that are out there too.
But how do they try to do that?
Well,
Oh,
my
they're
coworker is actually going through that now. She's and I
Mhm.
hate the stereotype, but he's from another country, and
Nigeria.
so
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I wish this was T.
Stereotyping.
So he asked her to send him all the money that she had in her checking account. And so she says it would be different if he said he was going to invest my money. And I said, no,
No,
it
when
wouldn't be different.
Yeah.
Why are you sending him your money? Like I don't
Exactly.
understand. And so he told her that he was moving to this area. So now she's working with a realtor to try to find him someplace to live. And he gave her his bank information to pay her mortgage. Of course, the
Oh my
transaction didn't go
God.
through. So she's like, but he said he was going to pay my mortgage.
And now we know why Brenda keeps swiping left.
Right.
But
she was like, ain't
yeah, but
nobody got time for that.
but the catfishing like that, because actually it's funny because Jay was talking about catfishing. When I first heard the term catfishing way back in the day, it was in that context of women who will put up a fake profile picture and pretend that they'll get some lonely guy and talk all this lovely sexy shit to him, and he falls in love with her, and then oh, my electric bill is overdue. Do you think you could send me this? And before you know it, it's 100 here, 200 there, 300 there, and he's thinking he's talking to this sexy babe that's totally in love with him, and boom, she's just taking all his money. So that can still happen these days, guys. So I think somebody in the chat said definitely FaceTime and all that
Yeah.
Mhm.
is like a
And,
must
and
nowadays.
Elle said she was catfished by a dwarf.
Oh boy, nothing against dwarfs, but
You know what? So she just reminded me. We're gonna have to end soon. But she just reminded me. So I did go out with a guy. I did meet up with him, and I felt bad, but he didn't tell me. And so I don't know, but he basically had one leg shorter than the other. And so when I went to meet him, he had the limp. And I'm not superficial, like I didn't care, but I felt awkward that he didn't tell me first. Because I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like out to be prepared. So it was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
You
for
know,
me,
it's
I
hard
don't know
with
what
that
the
though,
rules
right?
of that is. Like, should you, if you're a dwarf, if you have one leg shorter than the other, or some type of handicap, like I feel like you should tell the person first.
Renee, that's a whole nother topic, and we can even get into like in the bed, like certain things.
Yes, like you should warn if, like Nancy says, the thumbnail. You should warn somebody if you
Yes,
have a thumb drive.
yeah, that's for the after hours live. But
Yes,
there's a whole other topic about
Like,
because when some people show up at your door and you're like, that is not what was in the picture.
right,
I was expecting deodorant, like the spray deodorant. You gave me the roll on.
right.
So that's a whole other topic.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
So I know
D
this is
says
supposed
he
to be our
wasn't
last one,
transparent.
but
Uh,
Renee, it's up to you. Do y'all want to get together again, or do we want to talk about it?
okay, so listen. I've already planned out my December. But the good thing is it's Chinzia who's supposed to be on December 2nd, who's also one of us from the Adult Conversations on Tuesday nights. So I think we could just have her on, and then you guys come back on, and it'll be all five of us. Because I invited Chinzia to talk about just more into the relationships and what she went through with separating and then getting back, and giving some good feedback on just kind of trying to work things out in a relationship. So
I can talk
yes,
about
Dee
that
says
too.
yes, y'all do this again, please. All right, so we'll continue on the next week. We'll have one more person on. It'll be five of us, and we'll
said
go more into
Worst
dating.
catfish.
Look, y'all, I think we might end up being stuck with doing this weekly.
I know. It's so much fun,
It is so much fun. It is so much fun.
Look, Renee, look at Ellie. She said, "Please have a show with worst catfish." People just want to hear horror stories. That's the thing.
I know that's the thing. Okay,
Misery loves
so
company.
so we do have the plan, the worst catfish. We have to plan the intervention for Brenda to get a good man. And what are some of the other shows? Brenda, can you take note? Brenda, can you be the secretary to take notes so we can
Oh,
remember?
no,
The
ma'am.
next step is going to be the intervention on you.
We want
Listen,
screenshots.
I fight with my supervisor all the time. I am not admin. No, ma'am.
Listen, I've been a recording secretary many times in many organizations. So I
Thank
don't
you,
mind.
Jay.
We'll talk after this, and I'll keep the notes.
All right. You have the notes perfect. Okay. So we're going to be sharing horror stories, worst catfish stories, helping Brenda get a man, and hearing from Chinzia about reconnecting. Okay. D is invested in Brenda's love life now. I want an update at every episode.
Oh, God. She's a
How
sweetheart.
you let your catfish your friend? That's for you, Jay. How you let your catfish your friend?
Yo, I was so mad at him. I was like, bruh, how you gonna not tell me you never met your girlfriend?
Like, who does that? Anyway.
Who does that?
Right.
But, I mean, but that's the thing, right? That's the mastery of the catfish, right? They put up these images of this person, and then they have the backstory, and they have an answer for everything. Everything.
It's a scammer. Scammers are good, man. That's why they do what they do.
They're very good at what they do. Very good at what they do.
Yes. So this has been so much fun. Oh my God. If you guys have enjoyed it, and I know you have, don't forget to give that thumbs up while Phil is drinking his liquor. Give that thumbs up. Share this with your friends. And if you are on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you can get that reminder when we're coming on and you don't miss it. So this has been fun. Anybody want to say anything else before we close off?
Follow me at Phil in Brazil on Instagram. And I may be getting spanked by Renee this coming Saturday because she's coming
You
to
might
São
be.
Paulo.
No, you will be.
Oh, my God. But our band is playing on Saturday, so I'll live stream it from my Facebook page. So if you want to check that out, I'm at Phil Ray on Facebook. So that'll be around 5 p.m. São Paulo time, which I think is 2 hours ahead of Eastern Standard. Mm-hmm. But if not, check out my Instagram. I got a lot of our music on there, Phil Ray Music.
So I'm excited. So Phil and I don't know each other personally yet. He could be catfishing me. Who knows? But we're going to meet in person finally. Right. We're going to finally meet in person.
Reality, I'm a tall white guy.
Scratcher.
You just don't know. In reality, I'm a tall white man.
I know. You said you're a tall white man?
Yeah, in reality. It's like Lovecraft Country. It's like,
Phil sent me a picture of him, and I was like, you look white in this picture. And he was like, yeah, this is why I stopped talking to that guy. I didn't like it because he said I look white. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You did look a little bit on the light side of that picture. So I'm like, I don't know, who is Phil really? Is this really you on here with us? Yeah. But anyway, I'm bringing my back scratcher because he's going to get a good spanking when I get there.
And that will not be live streamed. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, D Love said, "Oh, well, that's not it. Is that live too?"
Oh,
we're gonna do the spanking live.
Oh, goodness.
I think she's talking about your music. Yeah, that's gonna be live.
Oh yes, the music will be live. The spanking, maybe not. Although it's maybe. Yes, it'll be live. And just if you go on my Instagram, I always put stuff on there. So I'll post clips after from the live stream if you can't see the live on Facebook.
Awesome. All right. So yes, follow Mr. J as well at Mr. J Speaks on Instagram.
Yep.
Anything else you want to share?
No, I'm really enjoying this. I have on like my little stories on Instagram. I'm still building out that account because I have a bunch of other accounts. But if there's anything that you want to ask me, I have one of those ask anything. We got to pay for the spanking content.
Yes. Okay. So wait a minute. We're gonna open up an OnlyFans just for spanking. Join our OnlyFans and you will see me spank Phil.
Oh,
So
geez,
she made it
hilarious.
clear. She made it feel she was clear. She was talking about the spanking.
Oh
I
my
think
God,
people
you
want
guys
to
are
see that.
terrible. Terrible. I'm
So,
sharing my heart. I'm sharing my heart about my artistic side, and you just want to see me get spanked?
yeah, that's the fun
Terrible
part.
people.
So,
I got the
Elle,
nice podcast.
what should I spank him with? Phil, choose your weapon. Should I use a shoe,
Oh, the
my back
shoe.
scratcher, a brush, a belt,
Spatula. Get a spatula.
spatula,
Old school.
Spatulas
We're in
work.
Brazil.
Oh,
Havaianas. Old school.
Havaianas? I got some
Like
Havaianas.
my mama used to do.
Get a
Wow.
wet spatula.
Ooh, wet spatula.
Oh,
All right,
no,
I'm
you
bringing
guys
that.
are
I'm bringing a
terrible.
spatula. I'm bringing flip flops. I'm bringing all kinds of stuff. We're gonna make it live. Phil doesn't know it's gonna be live yet, but it's gonna be live.
A
I'm
drumstick.
gonna have
She
my
said
I'm gonna
a
have my phone
drumstick.
on, recording it. And Phil gonna be like, ah, do that to me one more again.
These are terrible. And Elle, look at Elle. She says
That
a
was going in,
drumstick.
right?
She's
She said a
over.
drumstick.
Yes.
She loves that this is better than Mortal Kombat. And I used to love me some Mortal Kombat. Oh my God.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
Brenda, come to Senegal. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna also pull together and get a Instagram site for Brenda called @BrendaGetAGoodMan. So that people could join Instagram @BrendaGetAGoodMan. And we're gonna be giving tips. We're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff, following her story. Girl, you know what? You could probably make money telling your story about this.
you all are hilarious.
I think you're right. I think
she's right.
People like to hear what you got to say, Brenda.
Yes.
Mm.
So don't get coy now, Brenda. It's too late now.
Right? Oh, she could. See? She
Yes.
could.
Sounds very interesting.
All right, we're gonna start
Thank
that
you.
website for her. Brenda needs her zaddy. Yes, needs her a zaddy.
Brenda would have some fun in Brazil. That's what we need to teach.
All right, so get her a podcast. So next week's show is Getting Brenda a Zaddy. How do we like that title?
That should,
Oh,
that
my
should be
goodness.
the IG name. Brenda needs a zaddy.
Yes, yes, Brenda needs a zaddy. IG.
Brenda needs a trip to Salvador. That should be.
Oh my God, Brenda.
You'll be.
Yes.
He ain't lying. You know I got my Salvador, my Women of Color retreats in Salvador, August 2021. Let me tell you, you don't need to come to that. You could come. You would love it, but you just got to go to Salvador. Phil, go ahead. I can't.
It'll change your
Why
life.
don't
It'll
you
change
go
your
to
life.
Salvador?
It changed my life. Okay. I need my
It'll
life
change your
changed.
life.
Yes,
will
let's
change
talk
your
about that.
It will.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what it is. Okay, yeah. We'll talk about this next week.
Yeah, because we'll be on for another hour talking about Salvador.
Easily.
One of my friends said last week that y'all good with those teasers. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what Marvin Gaye called sexual healing. That's what you will find in Bahia, in Salvador, or transport a Bahian somewhere near you. But easier to just go where you find the most of them.
Yes. D Love said, "What's happening?" So it's Salvador, Brazil, in Bahia. But I started doing my Women of Color retreat in Salvador because it changed my life. I lived in Salvador for 4 years, and the synchronicity, the culture, the African culture, and I don't know, like you learn so much about yourself and you find love. I mean, you get your groove back. It might be a temporary love.
Brenda doing her little shimmy.
You're gonna get your groove back. Yeah,
you will get your groove back. Like
I just met a Bahian like last week here in São Paulo. My groove is like,
Okay.
And they are good. They are good. Let me tell you, never in my life prior to Bahia, never in my life would I have ever met a guy on the street and then, oh wait, my family might be listening. Never mind.
This is for the after. This is for the only fans. The after show is for the only fans.
The after show. Oh,
Yes.
I'm thinking of my family listening because they doing their pre-Thanksgiving stuff. But the only time, like, I met a guy, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, walking home, met this guy, and he was fine. We start talking, and we're walking in the same direction, talking, and he's like, eu sou apaixonado para você. And he's saying all this stuff, and I'm like, melting. And I'm like, okay. He went straight to my house. We probably knew each other for an hour. And it was great. And then, like, literally, like, we start dating. Like, you know, my first boyfriend there, our first date was me going to watch him play basketball. Then I slept at his house. And I ended up moving with him, like less than 3 weeks. Live footage of Renee's family. Their faces, if they're on, is like, so. All right, so we're going to continue next week, and then we'll have Chinzia on. Download Portuguese app. Yes. Download it, learn a little bit, come to Brazil, come to Salvador. D-Love, L, Brenda, I'll see y'all in August, right?
All right. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you, everyone, for coming on, participating, commenting, and you made it so much fun. Love you guys.
Bye, people.
Bye.